Welcome to the Nevada Patriot Podcast with Matt Sadler.
Welcome to the Nevada Patriot Podcast with Matt Sadler. Yours truly. Joining me is my lovely bride, Sharon Sadler, who is putting on a fantastic event Sunday, May 7th, here in Pahrump. We're going to dive right into the event details, who the benefit is for, and how you can still reserve a seat or help the cause. Remember, you can catch this show Saturdays and Tuesdays on KPFF 97.7 FM at 6 p.m. in beautiful Pahrump. Remember, Patriots, 97.7 FM is where the First Amendment lives. No woke censorship going on here. You can stream on demand this show or any of the others at thenevadapatriot.com, Rumble, and YouTube. Well, at least YouTube for now. My recommendation, go to the website or like and subscribe on Rumble. In fact, if you value freedom, think about watching most of your content, like how-to videos, news snippets, and more, on Rumble and not YouTube. Free people like we Americans don't need our government or our tech oligarchs filtering our content. Quick congratulations to our good friend and national television celebrity from On Patrol Live and new chairman of the Nye County Republican Central Committee, Lieutenant Eric Murphy. Man, that is exciting news, and I'm so looking forward to seeing this party grow. That guy has the chops to get it done. Class act. Also, I want to congratulate my friend Bob Barlas on his election to vice chair of the NCRCC, our local Nye County Republican Party Committee. Great job, Bob. You two are going to work great together, so just don't forget about the little guys like me, okay? Also, I'm going to elaborate on what the word conservative really means. What is conservatism? We throw the word around a lot, but what is it really? How many people say they're conservative, especially in the Republican Party, but obviously are not really that conservative? My guess is at least 1, 2, a million. I don't know. So, without further ado, welcome back to the Nevada Patriot Podcast, my better half, my wife for a better life, Mrs. Sharon Sadler. Welcome, sweet cheeks. What's happening?
Well, thanks for having me, Matt. Didn't really expect you to say that, but okay. No. So
tell us what's going on.
Well, I'm excited because it's just around the corner. Really, literally, May 7th at 2 p.m. It's a Sunday. We are having our first ever conservative women's tea, and I'm excited about it because this is something that, you know, this kind of event is something that we lost as women, and also in, you know, pretty much what's acceptable now these days. But it's a chance for us to wear fancy hats, have nice conversation over a cup of tea, and also, you know, we're going to have some finger foods, desserts, and we're going to have 4 speakers. The speakers that we're going to have, the lineup is Sherelle Mendenhall, which is she. And just so you understand, these ladies that I picked, you know, they're brilliant. They are just an inspiration in their fields, and all of them have this passion behind them, and their God-given qualities that they have it's just amazing, and I'm so excited to hear them speak. Sherelle Mendenhall, she's a former candidate for the U.S. Senate. She's a successful business owner, which is it's Menden Nation, her coffee business. Also, she is just a go-getter. She's just very inspiring. Chelsea Fisher, she is elected official for the Nye County School Board. And one thing I love about Chelsea is that girl, she she always speaks her mind,
Yeah.
and she's not afraid to do it. I love that about her, and the passion that she has for not only her children but other children.
Yeah.
To make a difference, and she is just a great advocate for them.
Yeah, she's tenacious. She grew up in Oregon, so she's like well equipped to see how bad it can get, because we're not to that point yet. And I think also that kind of prepared her for this unique position that she finds herself in, to make sure that she can kind of identify some of the pitfalls that maybe places like Oregon have already kind of jumped headfirst into. So I think she's got a unique perspective, and her having a limited filter, to put it mildly, is kind of a good thing, because I think word is that maybe things going on in the school board over the years has been go along to get along type mentality, and I think she's the type of person that calls it like she sees it. So it's good to get that fresh perspective in there, and I'm excited to see what she's legally able to share with the group during her speech, because obviously she's bound by certain things that she has to abide by, but I think she's going to give a good, unique perspective. And Sherelle, like you said, equally tenacious. I remember on the campaign trail when we were doing stuff, Sherelle's campaigning through the whole entire state.
Yeah.
And we're going through smaller towns in our district, thinking that we're hitting it hard, and we're finding out that,
then we just
goodness,
see
Sherelle had already been
I know.
campaigning out here, going door to door in Sandy Valley and places like that.
Doors I would go up to.
So I think that's amazing, and I know she had a strong showing. I wish it would have turned out better for her, because I think leadership from someone like her would be something the state of Nevada could use, especially better than the Democrat senators that we have out there now. So I have a feeling that she's not done in politics. I'm hoping
she better not
done.
be.
I'm hoping she keeps it
going.
No,
sorry I said that, but yeah. Well, no, I'm not sorry.
On the spot, Sherelle.
Yeah. On the spot.
Yeah, so who else do we have speaking?
We have Tammy McGill. She is a longtime member of the NCSO and the wife of our current Nye County Sheriff, Joe McGill.
Yep.
So she's First Lady of Nye County. And
that's a good point.
When I first met Tammy, we were putting signs out together, me and you, for campaigning. And I just remember freaking out, because in the bushes, I'm just like, what is this pack of dogs? Where are they coming from? And my anxiety started I was just having anxiety about, like, what it was, like 4 or 5 dogs?
Yeah.
Something like that. And I didn't know what to do. I was looking at you. What do we do about this? Do we start herding them in? Are they going to get hit by cars? What's going on? And
yeah, that was my fear.
Yeah.
On Pahrump Valley Boulevard, when it was getting kind of busy
and,
near rush hour.
Yeah, and I never met Tammy before. And, I met Joe a couple times, and he was running for sheriff, and they pulled up. And next thing you know, we're all working together, just focusing on these dogs, getting them back home and safe. And I went home, like, thanking God that we didn't have to see one of those pups get hit by a car. And how they handled it, it was just pretty neat. It was, anyways, I think learning more about and getting to know Tammy and stuff, and her love for animals, and she's pretty neat, and for her to be where she's at and where her journey was during this campaign, she stayed behind the scenes a little bit, but she was working hard and everything. She's
just how hard it is to be a spouse of someone in a campaign, in a race,
right? That
wasn't quite contentious, because honestly, the race that we ran, the opponent in his camp, it was pretty legit race by the issues, no tax. The sheriff's race was a little bit different, definitely people taking sides, including us, and I won't get into all that right now, but there was a lot of, it was kind of tribal and contentious, and it wasn't, it was an interesting race for sure, but in the midst of that, being the wife of a candidate going through that, and also working at the agency, and that goes with our other set of friends, Christine and Eric Murphy. It's a dynamic that it's hard to relate to because their job and their political races were so intertwined. And at the end of the day, all four of those folks, good people. And I think the county is in good hands either way. And it's just, it was kind of refreshing and nice to get to know the McGills a little bit more in the general election cycle. So I'm glad she's able to speak to the group at your tea party and kind of give that fresh perspective of not only a working member of NCSO, but also the wife and, like you said, First Lady.
Well,
to the sheriff
and when I asked her, she said yes to me right away, and I think that's pretty awesome because going up to speaking in front of people, like as you've seen me do it before, it's not something that is easy to do, but I'm looking forward to hearing Tammy. And then also we have another amazing woman is Stephanie Hashimura, and she's a president of the Pahrump Valley Republican Women.
Yep.
She, I sit back and I watch Stephanie, and that is another person who I admire that will speak her mind, but is also gracious, and she has always been kind and gracious to you and I.
Yep, for sure.
When you put your hat into the race, and and I just admire her always standing up for what is right, and even if she knows that people don't agree with her, she still sticks to her guns, and I really admire that about her.
Yeah.
So.
She's a truth teller, how she sees it, and what I like about her is she's tolerant of a variety of people with differing views. She's not a disagreeable person. She's a smart person, and I hope she just keeps running and winning the election.
I know, me too.
So if you're listening, Stephanie, I hope you don't.
Yes,
I hope you keep running.
Please.
I can't vote for you, but my wife can.
Yes, I can.
You got her, yes, for sure.
And then also, so we do have entertainment. DJ Sounds is going to be there. He's going to be providing our music and our sound, and all of his wonderful talents. And Will is just always awesome, and always there for me and you anytime we ask. Any kind of event,
if you haven't
Will's
lived
there
under a rock in this community in the past couple years. You've been you've witnessed his stylings, whether it's at some of the festivals at Patriot Park, or whether it's campaign events, whether it's comedy night at 5280, the Mexican restaurant on Mesquite, different bars he's been at playing. He's sought after, weddings. He was picked for that Laxalt event when Don Trump Jr. came into town, and he was the first go-to guy for that. So the fact that he's donating so much of his time and talents to help out the cause, it's humbling and it's really cool, and I'm glad to call him and his family friends. So thanks Will, DJ Sounds, for being a part of that. And who else do we have? And
we have Tiffany WhiteCloud is going to be our singer.
Yes.
And she has just an absolutely beautiful voice, and I'm looking forward to that too, because she's going to sing a few songs, and there's a couple times where I've been at her performances and I haven't been able to just sit and just enjoy it because I think I've been kind of working or doing something. But so I'm excited, and that's another one. She said yes right away, and she was and so she was so happy to do it.
So you'll sit down for a minute, enjoy a cup of tea,
and Tiffany listen. Is also she's starting her own singing telegram.
Yes, she is.
Yeah, business.
WhiteCloud Entertainment, if you've maybe heard her advertising on the radio. So keep that name in mind for sure as her business starts to... That
would be a really cool birthday present to send to somebody at work and stuff. They'll just be sitting there just working and minding their own business, and all of a sudden Tiffany just busts in there and starts singing at them. So that would be cool.
And tell us about some of the outside support. I mean, we've had an influx of people that have kind of right away had their yes on the table of wanting to come around this event and support it in different ways. Let us know who's
well, G. Dallas Horton and Associates.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
Oh, it's just kind of tripping over my words. Yes, he is an attorney, and he has been serving Southern Nevada for I probably
long before I met you.
Yeah,
we've been married for almost 20 years, and
all over the place.
I think in the 90s. Well, mm-hmm. Yeah, I remember seeing the commercials in Las Vegas, and he's been servicing Pahrump, mainly personal injury type inquiries and cases. So keep him in mind. He definitely services all of Southern Nevada, including Pahrump, for years now. So
yes, and so he sponsored a table, and then also we have another business, Thor Handyman Services. Now he's a jack of many trades, so. Yeah. John is really talented. The guy can pretty much do everything. Yeah. So he definitely super handy. So him and his wife they're helping with the catering and doing other services for us for this event. So we really appreciate them. And then another cool, awesome person that, didn't hesitate to say yes to me and you is from Nye County Armory.
Yeah. John. Well, John, I won't give it all. He's basically the guy heading up and making it, but it's the folks at Nye County Armory basically that are giving their support and offering a generous gift for our silent auction, things like that, and other levels of support. So thank you, John. Thank you, Nye County Armory, for stepping in there. They happen to also be our next door neighbor at one of our other sponsors, which is our company, A Hope Bell Bonds. So we're helping provide the food and the sandwiches, a lot of the materials, just the other nuances that kind of we front those costs so that ideally all the money collected will be in the form of proceeds that directly benefit the PVRW. And for those of you that don't know exactly what the PVRW does, I kind of equate them to it's almost like it is a Republican organization. It's the Pahrump Valley Republican Women, but they do a lot of community oriented work out here, and they subsidize and they help different causes. They're recently providing 3 scholarships this year for 2 of them in the Pahrump area for the high schooler seniors, and 1 in Beatty for scholarships. They also actually replenished and bought a new cotton candy machine for the gentleman that has been providing free cotton candy at so many of the events around town. His cotton candy machine experienced a power surge months back, and it just was obliterated and destroyed. The women's party here, the women's committee here, went ahead and purchased a brand new cotton candy machine, and that sole purpose is to serve the community. So it's not as if the Pahrump Valley Republican Women are stashing money in a money pit to swim around, and they're putting this money that we get to go ahead and serve our community. So it's a great cause this year. So that's why I don't hesitate to contribute toward the overhead, so that all your ticket sales that you're going to see here, the silent auction, the raffles, stuff like that, all that money is basically proceeds that is going to go ahead and benefit the organization and not get eaten up in all the overhead. So that's why I'm pretty fired up about this event.
Yep, and Paula Moses will be there. She will be our photographer. She is a small business owner for Forever, with her photography, and with Forever, the system is the business is that to saving your photos into a
it's basically like
Forever place,
storing
them
the Forever Cloud. Basically, it's a service, and it's not something that's recurring. And I kind of like it because whatever amount of space that you decide to to set aside. You pay one time and it's yours forever. Literally, you don't have to sit there and pay recurring charges to store your data. It's not like when you pay for extended data with Apple, they hit you every single month, $2.99, $3.99, or whatever. It's just whatever you pay up front. You want more data because you want more photos and memories in the cloud, then you purchase another block of it, and it stays there in the cloud.
So she's going to have a beautiful backdrop, and she's going to take pictures of the ladies. And also, ladies, please don't forget to find buy one, or if you have one, but wear a tea hat. It's just for fun. If you don't have one, that's okay. But
if you don't have one, I'll have a Mr. T hat as a backup.
Oh my gosh! Yes.
Pity the food.
Oh please.
Sorry, I've been waiting for
hours. Okay. So then we also will have door prizes. Okay? So we're gonna have door prizes, and then Carol Sievers, part of the Women's Republican. She made a beautiful quilt, and she's so talented at what she does. So we're going to have a raffle for that quilt as well. So bring some cash.
Bring a couple bucks.
We're going to have some fun with that.
Yeah. And silent auction items. One of our local fabulous artists, Jeannie Cox King, is providing a painting, and folks love. I mean, you can see her art is on display. She sells her art at different art shows and things like that. You're talking multi-hundreds of dollars worth of pieces. She's donating not only a beautiful artwork, but it's going to be framed and mounted and pretty much ready to go to the highest sensible bidder out there. So I'm just going to say it right now, like, I'll be bidding some money on that, but I guarantee whoever wins that is going to end up getting a great deal.
Yes, they are.
Helping a great cause and getting a good timeless piece. So I encourage you to check her out as well. And there's probably more, gift bags and more auction items I'm just not thinking about right now that's going to be part of the event. I think those are two good examples about women that are putting their own talents. They're women leaders in our community, and they're putting their talents to good use and volunteering their time and putting their effort in to make this event a success. So I thank you, Carol, and I thank you, Jeannie. And what other loose ends are we forgetting on that? But yeah, so at the event, like Sharon was saying, you're looking at finger foods, tea. A lot of the guys, I'm thinking Sheriff McGill is still on tap to be there, to be a volunteer to help serve. So this is your chance to let the sheriff of Nye County help serve you in more ways than just law enforcement. Helping out your palate, filling up your belly. We're gonna be there for you. So whenever you need something, you want your table bust, holler at us, guys. I'll be there. Anthony Greco at 97.7 will be there. It's going to be a good time. There's going to be lots of men, the husbands, are out supporting their women.
Our new chair said that he was going to be there as well, Eric Murphy.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
I'm just debating on whether I'm going to ask him to help work. I think I might just kind of...
Oh, no, I'm putting him to work. Yeah.
Shake some hands, get some babies. Maybe bust a tray or two. I don't know. Well, maybe. Yeah. Congrats again, Eric. I'm really, really proud of you. I'm glad you're the new chair. I think you're going to do a great job. So keep it up. Don't be retiring too early. You can do both for a little while. But again, and congrats to Bob Barless, our other friend who happened to win the election for vice chair. Congrats on that. I'm glad you guys are going to be able to work together now.
So there's still a few more tickets left on the site. For the
tea through the link for it's an Eventbrite event that you can go online. You can purchase tickets. There's no upcharge. It's still $35 if you use Eventbrite or if you purchase a ticket cash. The link for that Eventbrite page is right on the top of our homepage at thenevadapatriot.com. You just click on the little picture of the tea party, or there's another link there that says tickets for the 2023 Conservative Women's Tea. Click on that. It takes you right to the link. Super easy. Use your credit card, and you can get one of these last tickets before we sell out. So, anything else, sweet cheese?
No, that's it. I'm just looking forward to it. I can't wait. It's just going to be a fun event.
Yeah, it's going to be fantastic. And before we get to a commercial break coming up on us right now, I just want to let our listeners know that the Grassroots Conservatives of Nevada meeting is coming up a week from when this is being recorded. So the 24th at 6 p.m. at 41 North Highway 160. And now's a good time to let you know that the organizer of this event, Sharon Sadler, is also a director. She's on the board of Grassroots Conservatives of Nevada, so congratulations on that.
Thank you.
You're wearing many hats in addition to your T hat. So yeah. we'll talk about more. I'll talk about a little bit more about GCON, Grassroots Conservatives of Nevada, when we come back from the break. But I thank you, honey, for joining me on this segment. I hope our listeners will stick around, and we'll be back in just a few minutes.
Election day is around the corner, and you'll soon have a million choices to make at the ballot box. But right now, your number one choice for freedom is a no-brainer. It's Matt Sadler with a Hope Bail Bond. Choose Matt Sadler for your Nevada bail bondsman. Matt Sadler has been your number one local bail agent 3 years running. Nye County. Let's keep Matt Sadler in his office. For the best way out of jail, call 442-BAIL. He's Matt Sadler, and he approves your freedom.
Welcome back to the show, and just to reiterate, like we've mentioned a few times in the past on this show, if you don't feel like paying cash for your tickets, they're $35, you can actually purchase tickets to the Women's Tea through Eventbrite. The link is right on the main part of the page on the top at thenevadapatriot.com. I'd read you off the Eventbrite link or URL, but it's very long. So just go to the nevadapatriot.com, click on the picture of the tea or the link that says 2023 Conservative Women's Tea, and it'll take you right to that page where you can purchase tickets, $35. That includes all taxes and fees, no upcharges, no junk fees, $35 straight, whether you're paying by credit, debit card, or cash. So get them while they last. Like we talked about, I think there's only going to be room for about 100 folks in there. We're not sold out yet, so maybe you could be the ones that put us over the top and get us to that mark. So we're going to move the show along here and kind of talk more about what does it really mean when folks say that they're a conservative. What is conservatism? Like what does that actually entail? What are the marks? What are the distinguishing characteristics of a conservative? I think in our culture, we do throw that word around a lot. You hear it on Fox News, you hear it on OAN, you hear it on, Newsmax, Real America's Voice, any other outlets. Simply put, it's ideals that favor less government while also having ideals, traditional values that many can agree upon that make society better. And that includes socially, fiscally, with world relations, economic relations with other countries, intervention regarding the military, that we share, a similar mindset mostly. And oddly enough, when one Googles a word, conservative or conservatism, naturally you go into Google or something, you're going to see the Wikipedia definitions of it. But oddly enough, they do a fairly good job at Wikipedia. It's like an open source website where the crowds of people in humanity get to kind of put their 2 cents in and kind of formulate what they believe the terms to mean. And when I look it up, and one of the first hits I get is conservatism in the United States, which actually a lot of this is pretty head on. So I'll read a little bit of what Wikipedia describes as conservatism here in our country. It's a political and social philosophy based on a belief in limited government, individualism, traditionalism, republicanism, and limited federal government power in relation to U.S. states. Right on the money so far. Then it goes on to say conservative and Christian media organizations, along with American conservative figures, are influential, and American conservatism is one of the major political ideologies within the Republican Party. So far, so good. I can agree with that. American conservatives tend to support Christian values, moral absolutism, which I can agree with that. I believe there's absolute rights and wrongs. It's kind of foolish to say what's right for me is wrong for you, and what's wrong for you is right for me. We both can't be right when it comes to certain values, for sure. And also they believe in American exceptionalism while opposing abortion, euthanasia, same-sex marriage, and this is where I think I disagree. This is where they go off the rails a bit. It says that we oppose transgender rights. I don't oppose transgender rights. What I oppose is being steamrolled by a woke agenda that forces these perceived transgender rights and uber wokeness on society, and takes someone who has an opinion that's contrary to their lifestyle and conflates that with hatred of one's lifestyle and hatred of other human beings, which is far from true. So back to what Google has Wikipedia talking about. They tend to favor economic liberalism and neoliberalism. I don't like those terms, neocon, neoliberalism, but I guess favoring economic liberalism, meaning open markets, free trade, limited government intervention in the marketplace. I can get down with that. Pro-business, pro-capitalism, yep. While opposing communism and opposing labor unions. That's not true. No, they get that wrong. I do not oppose labor unions. I can call myself as conservative as possible. I don't believe forcing labor unions on all workers is a good idea. I believe that people can collectively bargain. Employers can work out an agreement with a collection of workers so that both sides benefit. And if one side's not benefiting, I don't want the system to be forced on either side. That's where I stand on that. What else does it say? Strong advocates for national defense, which I am, gun rights, capital punishment, and a defense of Western culture from perceived threats by both communism and moral relativism. I think that's great. That's absolutely true. I think what we're seeing now, and a gateway when we talk about these transgender rights, if what they're speaking about when it comes to transgender rights is some of the things being taught in our schools, for instance, some of the books, and this is a hot topic here in our community, that children might have access to in libraries or read to them in schools with or without their parents' consent, especially when it's without the parents' consent, that's egregious. If those values are being displayed as if they're virtuous, as if it's some kind of achievement that these young people, these little young innocent minds can attain to, if you're looking at a hierarchy of people to admire, and at the very top would be, transgender individuals, when their minds are young and moldable, it's dangerous to present that as if it's a virtue, because kids get confused so much as it is that you can plant these seeds by these authority figures, whether it's the school teachers, a librarian, a public librarian at a regular library, liberal library boards that might not proactively stop access from these youngsters to getting books and being exposed to material that is inappropriate and not age appropriate at all. That's to me, that's bad. To me, I don't believe in moral relativism, because this is case in point on this topic alone. I studied psychology. I got a degree at the very end of the 1990s in psychology, back in the DSM-4. It was very clear and I remember it distinctly, that transgender confusion, by and large, was a DSM-4 mental condition that would require therapies, treatments, different things like that. It was treated as an ailment, I don't really want to characterize it as mental illness per se, as a dysfunctional way of thinking, basically. In cognitive behavioral therapy, different things were procedures that could be used to try to provide therapy for these folks. And you fast forward years down the line,
the script is completely flipped. So when were we completely wrong and off our rockers that much just 20 years ago, 23 years ago? We got it so wrong back then that now it's a complete reversal. And now not only do we have to accept this as a norm, we have to actually praise people for this, because any opposition or any critique or critical type of backlash against some of these norms now in our society, it's deemed as a hateful act. Whether you're talking about Christians on the right, or you're talking about conservatives, or nonpartisans, moderates, independents who don't look at gender dysphoria as a virtue. They may still see it as an illness, just like medical professionals did years ago. And now you're seeing other countries where if you misgender somebody or you use an improper pronoun, you're committing some kind of crime against an individual in Canada or other places like that. Great Britain, I think. It's wacky world. So yeah, I'm not in favor of moral relativism, because when we subscribe to that, when we buy into moral relativism, when there's no more 100% true good or 100% true bad, it's only what's good for you, what's good for me, what's bad for you, what's bad for me, it decays our society. It rots us out from the inside. And frankly, it's leaving us ripe for exploitation by other nations, other countries, other foreign adversaries who seek our destruction. And we can't seem to find common ground on these issues, which is really sad, because I believe our eyes have to be on the prize, so to speak, and we have to be vigilant. We have to be keeping guard against these threats that are huge. And ironically, another huge component of conservatism to me is a strong national defense. Now, with that being said, I think I'm in disagreement with a ton of other so-called conservatives or Republicans that have no problem deploying troops or intervention or economic sanctions or just otherwise, international involvement in all these other countries' affairs, whether it's Ukraine and Russia now, or the Middle East years ago, or really anywhere. South America, Africa, wherever we kind of butt in. Now, I hate to say that, but oftentimes that's what we're doing. And I can't help but think about the Roman Empire spreading themselves thin, getting involved in too many outside things, trying to exert influence all throughout the world. And what happened? Eventually they crumble. Eventually the Roman Empire rots from within and just can't sustain itself. But you want to know what's really sobering and scary? The Roman Empire probably lasted almost 4 times as long as where we're at right now. I mean, probably close to 1,000 years if you really count the very nexus of the Roman Empire to the very, 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 very end of it. We're like 25% of that. And all the news is doom and gloom. And I think rightfully so, a lot of it. When it comes to our currency, the value of the dollar, inflation, the lack of willingness to work anymore, the total dependence on government is the big one. And that is ultimately one of my core convictions with conservatism is the individual's responsibilities and rights. I think that is gigantic. When I go back to watching Wikipedia's definition, of course they're going to have to throw in that we conservatives question climate science and evolution. At best, those are actual theories. Darwin himself in his works never stated that evolution was an actual empirical truth. It was a theory. He even states in his books that he could be proven wrong on it. This is a theory, even according to Darwin. Okay, and as far as climate science goes, give me a break. if you are still avidly believing that man-made climate change is the biggest existential or internal threat to our country, to the world, you got your head in the sand. It is not. It's by far, it's not. So in a nutshell, conservatism, and how I see the world as a conservative would be kind of like this, fiscally, economically, and when it comes to national defense, I'm truly a conservative. I'm almost borderline libertarian when it comes to how that works. So some people call it laissez-faire capitalism, open markets, true competition to keep prices low. For that phenomenon, you need look no further than some of the biggest cities we have in the country, even to Las Vegas, which is a relatively big city now. Look at some of the services you can get in Las Vegas or New York City, and then compare those to services out here. I compare that to, when my wife is getting her nails done or hair done or different things like that. The lack of competition, it makes the prices higher. I think you ladies in Pahrump can attest to spending a lot more money on some things like that than you would if you lived in Las Vegas or if you lived in New York. Food prices in Las Vegas and out here, you compare good, authentic food that you could get in New York City or probably Boston, Chicago, big cities where it's cutthroat competition with some of the eateries. You get some great value out in New York City, for instance, killer food, relatively cheap. You come out here, you spend $40 feeding a family of 3 at McDonald's now. I have no idea how that happened, but here we are. It's a luxury item now for most of us, but hey, that's just I guess it's a give and take versus having to live in a big city. I'll take that trade-off any day to have more open roads, open sky, lack of congestion, more like-minded people. This is exactly why we wanted to move here. Further in this, just want to state some more distinctions here that Google talks about through Wikipedia with regard to conservatism. It says conservatives tend to support prayer in public schools, school vouchers for religious schools. It's definitely got a slant to it that's very negative on organized religion. You can totally tell. I think I was I'm not that big. I was listening to Dan Bongino today, and he was saying, well, of course, there's a war. The left puts a war out on religion, on organized religion, on Christianity in general, and specifically because they hate absolute truth. And you can find absolute truth in religion, in Christianity. It's there. So, of course, they hate it. It says I don't only support school vouchers for religious schools. I support school choice 100% any way you want it. Your kid's failing in a public school. I think you have a right to take your kid out to put that kid in any kind of public school that you want. You want to put them in a private school, a vocational school, a Christian school. I believe that money should follow you. I believe you as a parent have earned that right. You as a taxpayer. I homeschool my kids. I'm paying tons of taxes. I'd rather my tax dollars go to where you have a choice in where you want to put your kids. It says we oppose abortion. By and large, that's true. It's in the Republican platform. Good luck finding any major Republican candidates that actually wear that on their sleeves, because they don't. People act like, this issue of abortion really, destroyed the Republicans, and I know people who would become Republicans, but not because it's they think that choice is a good idea. Well, here's the practical matter of it. Most Republicans are spineless. Most pro-life Republicans are spineless, or they're just not pro-life at all, and they disagree with the party's platform. Because I don't see any of them sticking their neck out. An abortion is, by and large, legal in every single state in the union. Roe v. Wade just turned this back to the states. Effectively, Nevada is no different than it was prior to Roe v. Wade. It's going to take a heck of a lot to overturn the referendum, the ballot measure that pretty much codified abortion up through, I forgot what it was exactly, 26 weeks or 28 weeks. It's going to take a double vote of the people, the majority, which is almost impossible in 2 successive election cycles to outlaw abortion in our state. That's a tough hill. Sadly, none of our leaders are actually jumping on board of that. So it's like a phantom opponent that the left likes to start war with. Most Christians I know, whether they're Republican, whether they're, nonpartisan or independent, they don't even dip their toe in the political field as far as waging a war on behalf of the unborn children out there. We by and large, Christians, as well as Republicans or conservatives, are very spineless on this issue. And the left keeps drilling us as if we're, so militantly against it, when largely the professing church is silent, and it's nauseating. They need to speak up. That's the reason why stuff like this happens, why these measures get approved, because lots of Christians are sitting on their hands saying, oh, secular versus sacred. I'm going to focus on the things of God and not this politics is dirty business. Politics is ugly. Well, when you sit on the sidelines and you don't vote and you don't go out there and make it known your position, especially as a group, a very powerful, potentially I'll say powerful interest group, but you're mute and you're not going to get anything done. And, I had Pastor Greg Seymour on here, and he compared a lot of the professing Christian church to the churches in World War II time, as they're taking train loads of Jews out to the slaughter, and they just play their music louder so they don't have to hear screams or agony or cries for help from those train cars as they're pulling out and as they're riding off to their own death. That's what our church is doing now. And I'll say professing church. I'm very careful with my words because I believe the church is the bride of Christ, like the Bible talks about. So I'm very slow to just blanketly besmirch my brothers and sisters in Christ. I don't want to do that. But a lot of you need to get your head out of the sand and get in the game. Because we talk about in church matters of eternity. We talk about the counsel of God. What does the Bible say about life? How does God feel about life? What would Jesus say about, over 67 million babies being aborted since Roe v. Wade first passed back in, was the law of the land from 1973 on, or 1972, whatever year that atrocity came out. But what are we as Christians gonna be accountable for to God one day when we're in front of Him, when we pass from this life to the next? I don't know. Do I want to swing into eternity being disobedient and silent and mum on things that the Bible speaks clearly about because they're so political? That's too political. I'm just going to leave that for the politicians, because the Republicans are bad, the Democrats are bad, they're just all bad. I don't trust any politician. How do you know a politician's lying? Because their lips are moving. Yeah, we get it. It's funny because it's mostly true, but at the end of the day, truth is, there's a war going on, and you guys are Switzerland. You're not doing anything, so not happy about that. So I'll move on to a different issue that they define as a characteristic through Wikipedia of conservatives, that we oppose LGBT rights. I do not oppose or want the government to meddle into certain aspects of our behaviors. While at the same time, while I believe that human beings grown-ups can engage in contracts with one another, civil unions, you can even call it marriage if you want to, because my only concern is you're free to play pretend. I'm free to think that my Hyundai is a Aston Martin, but it's not. It's just a little 4-door Hyundai. But if I want to play pretend, I don't want the government coming in there and telling me I can't call it what I want. If you want to engage in a contract, call it a marriage. That's up to you and your partner. You're grown-ups. You can do that. So I'm not really opposed to gay marriage in that way, because I don't believe that the God of the universe actually ordains that or looks at that as marriage. They're not allowed to just change the definition. But you can enter into a contract as an adult human with another adult, and that's fine. You can make tons of choices as an adult in our society. With that being said, when you say I oppose your rights, are you meaning I don't love your lifestyle and applaud it and cheer it on? Well, no, I don't. I don't applaud it. I don't cheer it on. I'm sure I do things. I cheer on a hockey team. A lot of the LGBTQ community, do they have to love my hockey team because I do? And if they don't, and I say, oh, they hate me. Oh, they hate hockey. They hate hockey players. They hate hockey fans. No, it's just different strokes for different folks. Do whatever you want to do. You can't make me love it and adore it, because I won't. And that ultimately is what makes me, although a social conservative, it makes me more libertarian, because I don't believe the government has a role to enforce certain morality. Case in point, is it a good idea to let the door slam on a blind lady carrying groceries as you leave the grocery store and she's behind you? No, it's a horrible idea. Be nice, do the right thing, hold the door open. Should it be illegal? Should you get arrested if you don't? No, the government shouldn't really have to come in and give you fines and imprison you for being a jerk. You know, freedom of speech, right? Lots of people say things that are annoying, offensive. It doesn't mean they're criminal, right? So you don't want the government coming in and legislating morality, because they'll do a terrible job. They've done a terrible job. You have instances where, you know, Christian bakers are basically teased and tormented and baited into making a decision against their conscience to either serve or not serve, or actually engage in the celebration of a same-sex marriage they decide not to. And, you know, they pay the consequences, right? Lose their business, get their lives ruined. Who's the intolerant ones? You know? So, while I believe in these values, and I believe when kids are growing up and they desire to one day get married, I think that's a healthy desire. I think if a 16-year-old boy wants to hurry up and graduate school, get into a trade, earn a lot of money, save money for a down payment on a house, find a wife early, settle down, get married, have children in his early 20s, I think that's a fabulous mindset. Doesn't mean I want the government to make that the law of the land, but I think that's a virtuous thing to do, and I believe that our culture would do better if we had more virtuous people in it. But then you have to ask me, what do I think the government's role is in compelling us to be nicer to one another, to do the right thing? I don't believe they have a role in that. I believe they need to protect us, protect our Bill of Rights, and pretty much just let us live our lives without getting our inherent God-given rights infringed upon, whether it's by the government or our neighbor. That's really their job. Pave some roads, work on our infrastructure, our common defense, stay out of foreign wars, stop deploying our young men and women to go to harm's way, stop it with the military-industrial complex where it seems like we want to start these things so that we can make contractors rich. You know, I'd say put an end to that. And I think if the government stayed out of the way, if we're allowed to make our own decisions, if the government's not always bailing us out, controlling every facet of our life, incentivizing slothfulness, our society improves. And you don't need to intervene. And then me as a social conservative, I'll start to see improvement in our culture and the different avenues that I think are important. And the beauty of it is that the government will not have to do anything to make that happen. It would just be human beings making better choices as they are more free and as they are more protected by others that want to usurp their basic unalienable rights as American citizens. So hopefully that clears it up about what I believe a conservative is And, some of the myths on what conservatives are not, we don't hate. There are definitely people that identify as conservatives that are hateful people. There's racist people in different groups, no doubt. But when you talk about institutional racism and things like that in wide swaths of people, I don't believe it exists. I don't. I don't believe when Wikipedia later on says that we are opposed to multiculturalism. How ridiculous. The American dream, friends that I have, family members that I have, first, second, and third generation immigrants to this country, obviously multiculturalism is a huge facet. We need the gifts, talents, and abilities that have helped make the country great. We want talented people to immigrate here. And yes, as Wikipedia says, we're opposed to porous borders. It's ridiculous to think that we have some kind of duty to allow anyone at any time for any reason to enter our sovereign borders and take from our American producers and our government. Because here's the idea, that we act like the government is some abstract secondary force out there that has its own money, that has its own currency, that's able to help these people. Oh, the government's going to take care of them. It's not going to affect you. Well, the government does not ever spend any money that it does not first take from someone else. That is our money. That's the thing. I think we just, once we start identifying terms and understanding what these terms mean and understanding facts about it, I think it becomes clear that the better worldview is conservatism. It's not leftism. It's not Marxism. It's not socialism. It's capitalism. It's traditional Americanism. It's being patriotic. It's having a reverence for what this country was founded upon. It's having a reverence for our founders, that although they were not perfect human beings, I think supernaturally they came across the formation of a document and sets of documents that are miraculous at preserving our rights. Now we just have to follow through with what's been done. And no, the Constitution is not a living, breathing document. It says what it says, and it means what it means. So I hope this was helpful for you. Before we end this episode, just want to again reiterate that this and all other episodes can be found at the Nevada Patriot podcast website, which is the nevadapatriot.com. You can also subscribe to us on Rumble and YouTube. Check out all of our shows, they're archived on the site. Just want to also announce that Grassroots Conservatives of Nevada, which is a new group that has recently formed, is going to be meeting Monday, April 24th, 6 p.m. at the corner of 160 and Basin. The address is 41 North Highway 160, next to Nye County Armory. Same shopping center as J.K. Nelson Law Office, kind of near Home Depot. So that meeting is going to be, again, the fourth Monday of every month. We're going to try to have it, and we're going to try to stick to that plan, have it once a month. Main purpose, again, coming alongside of identifying and helping potential candidates at the grassroots level, identifying them and giving them the support that they need so that they can become viable. And then our choices aren't just, whatever the cogs in the machine push out and make us choose from, that we can actually have a choice at the grassroots level. Because face it, if we can get our backyard cleaned up, if we can get our neighborhoods rocking and rolling the right way, if we can get our town set up for success, our county, our state, we're going to have a much better chance at improving this country, improving the world. We're going to have other mechanisms by which we can get involved with local government. Knowledge is power. It helps that we'll have different talented people in the group that are going to provide data, tactics, strategies, action items that we as regular everyday citizens can partake in that can help our community be better. Because I'm telling you, just a handful of people that are kind of working in unison, that have similar goals, the effect of just a handful of folks, it can be monumental. So if you want to be a part of that, you can look for details on the website, thenevadapatriot.com. We're going to call this show right now because we're going over a bit, but I really thank you for listening, and I hope you'll listen to us again when this replays, and also when there's a new episode try to have a new episode every Saturday. Certain weeks, the new episode will air on Tuesday to keep you on your toes. So make sure you tune in at 97.7 FM here in Pahrump, 6 p.m. Saturdays, and also on Tuesdays. Until next time, Patriots, God bless.
You've just spent some of the best minutes of your life hanging out with Matt Sadler at the Nevada Patriot Podcast. Thank you for listening. Tell a friend and join us next time. After you catch your breath, check out the NevadaPatriot.com for more content, advertising opportunities, and to give listener feedback. That website again is the NevadaPatriot.com. Until next time, Patriots, stay American.